20 lessons from Steve Jobs' life are people who are born not just to walk on this earth, but to shake it. There are minds that don't simply dream about the future, but pull the future closer, reshaping the way billions of us live, work, and connect. Throughout history, only a handful of people have ever done that. And in the modern world of technology, one name stands above the rest: Steve Jobs. He wasn't the greatest engineer. He wasn't the best programmer. And he certainly wasn't the easiest person to work with. But he was the one who saw what the rest of the world could not. While others were trying to make small improvements to what already existed, Steve Jobs chose a path most people considered insane. He started from zero and imagined things that had never existed before. That is why the story of his life is not just the story of a company called Apple, or a collection of products from the iPod to the iPhone. It is the story of a mindset, of daring to think differently, of pouring meaning into your work, and of having the courage to chase a dream even when the entire world says you're wrong. Today, technology moves faster than we can keep up. Pressure grows heavier every day. People feel torn between their ambitions and their reality. We're constantly told to work harder, run faster, and do more. Yet we're almost never taught how to think, not the way Steve Jobs thought. And that is exactly what made him one of the greatest teachers of creativity, leadership, vision, and purpose. The lessons he left behind don't just talk about success. They teach us how to become the best version of ourselves. The audience of this video, you, are people who care deeply about growth, self-improvement, and purpose. You want to understand what drives success, what shapes greatness, and how to break through your own limits. You may feel stuck in your work, your life, or inside your own mind. And that is why the story of Steve Jobs hits so deeply. Because Steve Jobs was not born a genius. He was abandoned at birth. He spent his childhood feeling different. He dropped out of college. He was fired from the very company he created. His life is living proof that we are not defined by our beginnings, but by how we respond to our hardest falls. When you watch his story, you don't just see a legendary CEO. You see a mirror, a reflection of your own potential, your own dreams, your own fears, and your own strength. You see someone who once felt passionate, curious, confused, hungry, and sometimes lost, just like you. You see someone who dared to rise again and again. You'll realize we all have dreams that people doubt. We all take wrong turns. We all want to give up sometimes. And we all have the potential to change our lives. When Steve said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish," he wasn't telling you to be reckless. He was telling you to protect the spark inside you, the curiosity, the imagination, the boldness you had before life made you cautious, before fear made you smaller. Steve Jobs never let that spark die. And the 20 lessons in this video are the essence of that spark. The mindset that carried him from a tiny garage to becoming the most influential figure in modern technology. A mindset that can transform anyone who chooses to practice it. You will see something clearly. The difference between extraordinary people and ordinary people is not talent. It is thought. It is the way they see the world, the way they interpret failure, the way they trust their intuition, and the way they commit to excellence. Jobs didn't create the iPhone because he was a technical genius. He created it because he could see a world that didn't yet exist. Maybe you can't see that far ahead, but you can learn to think deeper, think bolder, think more creatively. This video is for you if you want to understand yourself better. You're searching for purpose in your work. You want to create real value, not just survive. You want to push past your invisible limits. You feel that life has more to offer, and so do you. It's for you if you feel stuck in a world that moves too fast. If you feel like you've lost a part of yourself along the way. If you need a spark to remind you, you are capable of changing your life. When we explore these 20 lessons, you'll feel it. Each lesson is not just advice, not just a philosophy, but hard-earned wisdom built from struggle, rejection, failure, and rebirth. Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." And when you look back at his life, the dots reveal something powerful. His success was not luck. It was the outcome of someone who kept believing, kept trying, kept breaking the rules, and kept rising after every fall. When you watch this video, you're not just learning about Steve Jobs. You're learning about yourself. You will hear questions you've never asked. You will recognize limits you've unknowingly placed on yourself. You will see pathways you didn't realize existed. And you will gain insights that can transform not just how you work, but how you live. This is not a biography of a tech genius. This is the story of a man who changed the world, and 20 lessons that may change your inner world forever. If you're ready, let's begin this journey. A journey into the mind of Steve Jobs. A journey into the mindset that reshaped technology. But more importantly, a journey into discovering the most powerful version of you. Sometimes, the thing you're searching for is not a new answer, but a new way of seeing your own life. And Steve Jobs is about to give you exactly that. Chapter 1. The early years. From abandonment to a mind that refused to follow the rules. Steve Jobs did not enter the world under the warm glow of certainty or comfort. He entered it as a child who was given away. The moment he was born on February 24th, 1955, his biological parents, two young people overwhelmed by circumstances, made the choice to put him up for adoption. Some would say that the world had already rejected him once before he even learned to speak. But for Steve, this was the beginning of a truth that would follow him throughout his life. Your beginning does not determine your destiny. He was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, a working-class couple who could not offer him luxury, but gave him two things that mattered more: unconditional love and complete permission to explore. Paul Jobs, a machinist, spent weekends in the garage teaching Steve how to take things apart and put them back together. Steve would later say that those early hours Smelling machine oil and seeing the perfect craftsmanship of a well-built part shaped his obsession for detail and design decades before he even knew what design meant. Clara, his adoptive mother, taught him to read early and fed his curiosity with books and gentle encouragement. But beneath this warm, grounded home was a deeper tension inside young Steve. The feeling of being different. He knew he was adopted. He understood, even as a child, that someone had chosen not to keep him. And while his adoptive parents reassured him constantly, that early emotional wound lit a fire that would shape his personality forever. The need to prove he mattered. The need to create something so extraordinary that the world would never again look past him. In school, Steve was brilliant, but rebellious. Teachers said he was gifted, yet uncontrollable. He questioned every rule, challenged every instruction, and refused to accept anything simply because that's how it's always been done. One teacher bribed him with candy just to get him to sit still and do assignments. When asked why he caused trouble, Steve said, "I didn't like the way things were." That line would define his entire life. By middle school, he found himself fascinated by electronics, pulling apart radios and circuit boards. Not as a hobby, but as a window into a world where human creativity and physical reality intersect. He wasn't interested in machines because they did something useful. He was interested because they represented possibility. At age 13, he made a phone call that revealed the first glimpse of his courage and audacity. After seeing an ad for electronics kits from Hewlett-Packard, he called the number and asked for spare parts. To his surprise, the person who picked up was Bill Hewlett himself, the co-founder of HP. Instead of hanging up, Hewlett talked with him for 20 minutes and offered him a summer job at the company. That was the moment Steve Jobs understood something profound. If you dare to ask boldly, doors open that others never see. Around this time, he met Steve Wozniak, Woz, a kind, gentle engineering genius who could build anything with breathtaking simplicity. They instantly connected. Woz was kind and introverted. Steve was intense and visionary. Together, they formed a friendship that would change the course of technology forever. But Steve's mind was never satisfied with electronics alone. He became obsessed with art, design, calligraphy, philosophy, and spiritual exploration. After graduating high school, he enrolled at Reed College, but quickly realized he was wasting money on a path he didn't believe in. So he dropped out, a decision that terrified his parents. But Steve didn't drop away. He dropped in. He slept on floors, returned soda bottles for coins, and walked miles to get a free meal at a Hare Krishna temple. And during these wandering months, he took classes that didn't count for anything, at least according to the university. Classes like calligraphy, typography, and aesthetics. He had no idea these seemingly useless classes would one day define the Macintosh computer and influence the look of every modern digital interface. "You can't connect the dots looking forward," he said years later. "But looking back, they become clear." The wandering continued. He traveled to India searching for meaning, shaved his head, lived like a monk, and tried to understand the invisible structures that shape human consciousness. He returned with a belief that intuition, deep intuition, was more powerful than data, logic, or analysis. This belief would guide every decision he made for the rest of his career. But of all the lessons from this restless period of his life, one stood above the others. The world is built by people no smarter than you, and you can change it if you choose to. This realization became the foundation for everything he would later build. By the time he reunited with Wozniak and stepped back into the world of electronics, the pieces of the young Steve Jobs, abandonment, rebellion, curiosity, art, intuition, spirituality, had begun to merge into something unprecedented. A mind that refused to accept limits. A spirit unafraid to challenge everything. A vision shaping itself quietly, waiting for the right moment to erupt. And that moment would arrive in a small garage at 2066 Christ Drive, Los Altos, where two young men would build a company that changed the world. Chapter 2. The Rise, the Fall, and the Legend. How Steve Jobs rebuilt himself and rebuilt the world. The garage was small, crowded, and unimpressive. Yet within its dusty walls, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak laid the foundation for a revolution. Woz had engineered the Apple I, a simple, elegant machine far ahead of its time. Jobs saw something deeper, not just a machine, but the beginning of a personal computing movement that could bring technology into every home. Where Woz saw circuits, Jobs saw destiny. They founded Apple in 1976, not with ambition to build a company, but to build a future. The breakthrough came with the Apple II, an accessible, beautifully designed machine that ignited the personal computer industry. Investors rushed in. Apple grew at impossible speed. And then came the Macintosh. The Mac wasn't just another computer, it was a manifesto. With windows, icons, and typography inspired by Steve's calligraphy classes, it introduced the world to the interface we now consider standard. But Steve's perfectionism, intensity, and relentless demands created friction. He pushed teams to exhaustion. He challenged every idea. He refused compromise. Some called him a tyrant, others called him a genius. The truth? He was both. His emotional volatility and refusal to bend eventually put him in conflict with Apple's board. And in 1985, the unimaginable happened. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. The world saw a failure. But Steve saw something else. Freedom. It was awful, but it was also the best thing that ever happened to me, he later said. Instead of breaking, he rebuilt. He founded Next, a computer company focused on high-end machines with stunning design and cutting-edge software. Next didn't succeed commercially, but it developed technologies that would later power Apple's most important products, including macOS and iOS. At the same time, Steve acquired a small computer graphics division from Lucasfilm for $5 million. He renamed it Pixar. Nobody knew it at the time, but this small team would soon redefine animation. In 1995, Pixar released Toy Story, the world's first full-length 3D animated film. It didn't just succeed, it changed cinema forever. Pixar became a storytelling powerhouse, and Steve Jobs became a billionaire. Meanwhile, Apple was collapsing without him. Products were confusing. Vision was lost. Innovation had died. In desperation, Apple bought Next in 1997, bringing Steve Jobs back home. But he didn't simply return. He resurrected the company. He cut 70% of Apple's product line, reorganized teams, and rebuilt the culture around simplicity, creativity, and ruthless focus. Then the miracles began. iMac, iPod, iTunes, iPhone, App Store cost, iPad one by one. He transformed industries, computers, music, phones, animation, retail, publishing, entire ecosystems bent to his vision. His obsession with minimalism, emotional design, user experience, and end-to-end control became Apple's signature. He wasn't just building products, he was shaping how people would live. But behind the triumph was a painful reality. Steve was sick. In 2003, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Yet even as his body weakened, his mind remained afire. He worked through surgeries, setbacks, and exhaustion, determined to finish what he started. In 2010, he introduced the iPad, his final major product launch. In 2011, he stepped down as CEO. And on October 5th, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away. The world mourned, not just a business leader, but a visionary who had changed how humanity interacts with technology. His death left a quiet but powerful truth. Steve Jobs didn't just build products. He built possibilities. His legacy lives in every touchscreen, every app, every animated film, every piece of minimal design, every bold idea that refuses to fit inside a box. But his greatest legacy is the philosophy he shared with the world. Think differently. Follow your intuition. Fight for excellence. Connect the dots. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. Steve Jobs didn't simply change the world. He changed how we believe a single human being can change the world. And perhaps the most profound lesson from his life is this: you don't need permission to create something extraordinary. You just need to begin. 20 life lessons from Steve Jobs, 100 words each. 1. Think different. Dare to challenge the norms. Steve Jobs grew up questioning everything. From school to Apple's early days, he constantly challenged assumptions others accepted. His breakthrough products came from looking where no one else was looking. Lesson: innovation begins when you stop following and start thinking differently. Apply. Ask, why does it have to be this way? Challenge one rule in your life or work every day. Think in alternatives, not limitations. 2. Simplicity is power. Jobs obsessed over removing buttons, menus, and clutter. He believed simplicity was harder than complexity because it required true understanding. The iPhone became iconic because it made advanced technology feel effortless. Lesson: Simplicity isn't minimalism, it's clarity. Apply. Simplify your workspace, your routines, your goals. Remove what adds noise. Keep what adds value. Focus becomes easier when life is simpler. 3. Connect the dots backwards college dropout. Calligraphy classes. Spiritual wandering. None of these made sense to Jobs at the time. But later, they shaped the Macintosh and Apple's design philosophy. Lesson. Your journey only becomes clear when looking back. Apply. Trust your experiences, even the odd ones. Keep collecting skills and ideas. You'll connect the dots when the time is right. 4. Do what you love, or don't do it. Jobs said passion is the only thing strong enough to keep you from quitting when things get hard. Apple succeeded because he genuinely loved creating beautiful products. Lesson. Passion turns pressure into purpose. Apply. Spend 1 hour a week doing something you truly love. Let that clarity guide your future decisions. 5. Blend art and technology. Jobs fused humanities with engineering. This marriage created products that were not only functional, but emotional. Lesson. Greatness comes from crossing disciplines. Apply, combine your skills. Design plus logic. Creativity plus analysis. Explore fields outside your comfort zone to spark new ideas. 6. Never settle for good enough. Jobs drove teams to perfection. Every curve, every color, every pixel mattered. He understood that excellence is remembered long after deadlines are forgotten. Lesson. Details define greatness. Apply. Choose one area in your life to raise your standards. Deliver work you're proud of, not just work that's done. 7. Failure can be the best reset. Being fired from Apple crushed Jobs, but also freed him to build Next and Pixar, which later saved Apple. Lesson. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of reinvention. Apply. When you fail, ask, what is this pushing me to become? Define your comeback plan instead of dwelling on loss. 8. Don't just follow trends. Create them. Jobs didn't ask people what they wanted. He created things they didn't know they needed. Lesson. True leadership creates the future, not reacts to it. Apply. Stop chasing popularity. Build ideas that feel meaningful to you. Innovation follows authenticity. 9. Focus. Say no to 1,000 things. Jobs cut 70% of Apple's products to save the company. Focus gave Apple its power back. Lesson. Focus is choosing what to eliminate. Apply. Identify your top 3 priorities. Say no to everything that isn't aligned. Momentum comes from clarity. 10. Trust your intuition. Jobs relied more on intuition than data. He believed intuition came from deep experience and awareness. Lesson. Your inner voice is a compass. Use it. Apply. When making decisions, ask yourself which choice feels right before analyzing it. 11. Live as if you were dying. After being diagnosed with cancer, Jobs realized time was limited. This led him to focus only on what truly mattered. Lesson: mortality sharpens meaning. Apply, ask daily. If this were my last year, would I still do this? Reprioritize accordingly. 12. Create experiences, not products. Jobs didn't sell devices. He sold feelings. From Apple stores to packaging, everything was designed to delight. Lesson: people remember how you make them feel. Apply.
Daily mindset shifts that will completely change your life today. I don't want to motivate you for a moment. I want to wake you up for a lifetime. This video is not about quick success, not about shortcuts, not about magical habits that change you overnight. This video is about something deeper, something that silently rewrites your identity from the inside out. Because your life doesn't change when you buy a new phone, or when you move to a new city, or when you follow a new trend. Your life changes when your mindset changes. When the way you think, the way you see yourself, and the way you interpret the world begins to shift, even just a little, every single day. Most people are not stuck because they lack talent. They are stuck because they are living with old thoughts, old beliefs, old fears, old patterns. They're using yesterday's mindset to build tomorrow's life, and that will never work. So today, I'm going to give you 20 daily mindset shifts. Simple, powerful, and life-changing. Not theories, not cliches. Real mental upgrades you can start applying right after this video ends. These shifts will make you calmer, stronger, smarter, and more focused. They will help you grow faster. They will help you improve your English naturally. And most importantly, they will help you become the person your future self will be proud of. If you're ready to think differently, to rise above your old patterns, to break your limits one mindset at a time, then stay with me. Let's begin. 20 daily mindset shifts that will completely change your life. 1. Mindset: I am responsible for my life. Most people blame their family, their past, or their situation for where they are. That mindset keeps you stuck and powerless. Your life changes the moment you say, "My future is my responsibility." Example: a young man kept blaming his parents for his failures until he met someone who grew up with even less, but was still improving every day. That moment broke his excuses. Apply now. Write down the top 3 things you blame others for. Rewrite them as, "I am responsible for changing this." This shift hurts at first, but it sets you free forever. 2. Mindset: progress over perfection. Perfection sounds noble, but it secretly kills dreams. Most people never start because they fear doing things imperfectly. Progress, not perfection, changes your life. Example: a girl wanted to improve her English but kept waiting for the perfect time. She finally started speaking for just 3 minutes each morning. In 6 months, she was more confident than ever. Apply now. Choose one thing you've been delaying and do it for just 2 minutes today. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for done. Every great transformation begins with imperfect steps. 3. Mindset: discipline is stronger than motivation. Motivation is loud but unreliable. Discipline is quiet but unstoppable. When you rely on motivation, you wait. When you rely on discipline, you act. Example: 2 friends wanted to get fit. One exercised only when he felt motivated. The other followed a simple daily routine at 6:30 a.m. No excuses. 6 months later, their results were completely different. Apply now. Pick one daily action, reading 1 page, studying English 5 minutes, walking 10 minutes, and do it no matter how you feel. Discipline builds the life motivation only dreams about. 4. Mindset, small wins matter. People think change requires massive effort, but real transformation comes from tiny daily victories. Small wins build confidence, momentum, and identity. Example, a man who hated reading committed to just 5 pages each night. A year later, he had finished 12 books, more than he read in the last decade. Apply now. Choose one small win for today. Drink a glass of water, read 1 page, say 1 English sentence aloud. Small wins compound into big results. Celebrate them. They are proof you're changing. 5. Mindset, you are allowed to start over. Many people stay stuck because they're ashamed to begin again. But starting over isn't failure, it's wisdom. It means you refuse to stay in a life that no longer fits you. Example, a woman changed careers 4 times. People laughed at her. On the 5th attempt, she found the job that brought her joy and success. No one laughed anymore. Apply now. Identify one area of your life that needs a fresh start. Rewrite it. Begin again today. You don't owe your past a lifetime. You owe your future a chance. 6. Mindset. I choose my reaction, not my emotions. You can't control every emotion, but you can control your reaction. Most damage in life doesn't come from feelings. It comes from impulsive responses. Example, a manager used to react with anger and regret it later. When he learned to pause for 3 seconds before responding, his relationships and workplace atmosphere completely changed. Apply now. Today, when something triggers you, inhale deeply 3 times before speaking. That short pause can save relationships, opportunities, and your peace. Master your reaction, and you master your life. 7. Mindset. What you consume shapes who you become. Your mind is built from what you feed it. Content, conversations, food, and people. If you consume negativity, your life becomes negative. Example, a man replaced his daily gossip videos with educational podcasts. In 90 days, his thinking, habits, and confidence improved dramatically. Apply now. Unfollow 3 accounts that drain your energy. Follow 3 that help you grow. You are not just eating food, you are eating information, energy, and beliefs. Choose wisely. 8. Mindset. Hard things make you stronger. Most people avoid discomfort because it feels painful. But discomfort is where your strength, courage, and growth live. Example, someone who never exercised started by walking 1 kilometer. It felt impossible. 1 month later, 5 kilometers felt normal. Growth always begins with pain. Apply now, do 1 small hard thing. Today, get up 10 minutes earlier. Take a cold shower. Study English when you don't feel like it. Hard things shape strong people. 9. Mindset. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Comparison destroys confidence. When you measure your worth by someone else's highlight reel, you always feel behind. Example, a student compared her English to native speakers and felt hopeless. When she started comparing herself only to her progress last week, she finally saw improvement and consistency. Apply now. Write down 3 ways you've improved in the past 30 days. Focus on your growth, not others. Your only real competition is your past self. 10. Mindset. Failure is information, not identity. People fear failure because they think it defines them. But failure is simply data. It tells you what doesn't work. Example. Engineers test a bridge many times before it becomes strong. Every failure teaches them how to build it better. Your life works the same way. Apply now. Write down 1 recent failure and list 3 lessons you learned. Seen correctly, failure becomes your teacher, not your enemy. 11. Mindset. You have time for what matters. Most people say they're too busy, but the truth is they prioritize distractions over dreams. You don't lack time, you lack focus. Example. A mother with 2 jobs still spent 10 minutes each morning practicing English. In 1 year, her progress surpassed people who had far more free time. Apply now. Remove 1 unnecessary activity today, scrolling, gossiping, or pointless tasks, and use that time for your goals. Your time reveals your values. 12. Mindset. Saying no protects your peace. Many people say yes to avoid disappointing others, but saying yes to everything drains your energy and destroys your boundaries. Example. A man who always accepted extra tasks became exhausted and resentful. When he learned to say no politely, he regained control of his time and mental health. Apply now. Say no to 1 request today that doesn't align with your goals or energy. No is not rejection. It is self-respect. 13. Mindset. Money is a tool, not a fear. Ignoring your finances doesn't protect you. It traps you. Money becomes stressful only when you refuse to manage it. Example. A young man tracked his spending for 30 days and discovered he was wasting 20% of his income on things he didn't even remember buying. Awareness changed everything. Apply now. Write down every expense today, no matter how small. Taking control of your money is the first step to taking control of your life. 14. Mindset. You deserve good things. Many people sabotage themselves because deep down they don't believe they're worthy of success, love, or growth. Example. A woman rejected every compliment because she believed she wasn't enough. When she practiced self-worth, she gained confidence, opportunities, and eventually a promotion. Apply now. Today, when someone compliments you, say thank you and allow yourself to receive it. You don't have to earn worthiness. You already have it. 15. Mindset. You are not behind. Your timeline is yours. Life is not a race. Comparing timelines only creates anxiety and destroys gratitude. Example. Bamboo spends years growing roots underground, invisible to the world. Then it shoots up taller than the trees that grew quickly. You might be in your root growing phase. Apply now. Write this sentence. I am not late. I am preparing. Trust your timing. Your story is not supposed to look like anyone else's. 16. Mindset. Rest is productive. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Rest is not laziness. It is maintenance. Without rest, your body, your focus, and your creativity collapse. Example. A freelancer worked 12 hours a day and achieved nothing meaningful. When he added 1 rest day each week, his productivity and clarity doubled. Apply now. Schedule a 10-minute break every 90 minutes today. Rest doesn't slow you down. It prepares you for your best work. 17. Mindset. Your circle shapes your future. You absorb the energy, habits, and beliefs of the people closest to you. If your circle is negative, your future becomes negative. Example: a man left a group of friends who only complained and drank. He joined a study group instead. In 1 year, his income, health, and mindset transformed completely. Apply now. Reduce time with one negative person today. Increase time with someone inspiring. Your circle is your future. 18. Mindset. You can learn anything with consistency. Skills don't come from talent. They come from repetition. Most people quit because they expect quick results. Example: a 50-year-old man learned English from zero by practicing 10 minutes a day. After 1 year, he could travel and speak confidently. Apply now. Learn English for 5 minutes today. Read, listen, or speak. Tiny repetitions build massive ability. 19. Mindset. Identity drives behavior. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your identity. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you will behave inconsistently. Example: a man said, "I want to run," and he never ran. When he changed his identity to, "I am a runner," he started running every morning. Apply now. Write, "I am a disciplined person." Repeat it daily. Change your identity, and your actions will follow naturally. 20. Mindset. Choose growth over comfort. Comfort feels safe but keeps your life small. Growth feels uncomfortable but expands your future. Example: an employee volunteered for challenging tasks while others avoided them. 1 year later, he was promoted because he learned skills no one else was willing to learn. Apply now. Choose one uncomfortable but meaningful action today. Apply for a job, speak English aloud, go to the gym, or start the project you fear. Comfort is a cage. Growth is freedom. These 20 mindsets are more than ideas. They are invitations. Invitations to rise, to rebuild, to redefine who you are. Because your life will not change in one big moment. It will change in the small choices you make every single day. The thoughts you believe, the habits you build, the boundaries you protect, the identity you choose to step into. Remember this: you are not stuck. You are not behind. You are becoming. And every day you apply even one of these mindsets, you move closer to the life that's waiting for you.